To my left, Christopher Russo. To my right, Nick Nigro. And Christopher, we'll start with you. I want to gear this segment more to the youth of Long Island, and one of the things you guys mentioned before the show that I want to expand on is you and Nick have been instrumental in going to the schools, educating the youth. So let's expand on that, about what your role has been going into the Long Beach schools and other schools and educating the youth of Long Island.
A large part of that is bringing the youth along. And Nick and I have had great opportunities with the junior lifeguard programs, which we have in Long Beach. They have them in Jones Beach. It's an international thing as well. And it's really important to get the kids very comfortable in the ocean, because a lot of them, and rightfully so, have a strong fear of the ocean. And many deaths are both children drownings as well as adults. Unfortunately, many adults, especially inebriated, don't have that same fear, and that's how they wind up in a lot of trouble. So Nicholas and I have, for several years, supported the Junior Life program, ages I think around 9 or 10, maybe even 1 year younger, up until 15. Because here in Nassau County, you can become a full-time lifeguard at 16 years old. So we have the real pleasure of introducing children to the ocean, showing them what it means to be a lifeguard, how to respect the land, the sea, all of the people that are around us, and just get them comfortable and give them that skill set. I've had the good fortune of serving for the lifeguard patrols in both Australia and Denmark, and they have great programs over there with the children. In Australia, they call it the Nippers program, and the reason they have such an incredible life-saving patrol is that they start these kids from such a young age. And they do have the climate. They're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and Indian Oceans and Tasmanian, just a lot of water moving around over there. And they start them very young, and they are the elite and top guys to beat in the competitive level, and they are, to a certain degree, a gold standard to look up to. And also, when I was in Denmark, there was huge initiatives on teaching the children, and we get all the children out to the beach, we show them the rescue board, the tubes, go over little things, the CPR. You'd be surprised at 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, CPR is very rudimentary, and these children are capable of doing this. But more so getting them comfortable with the water, what lifeguards do, and just inviting them to see if this is something that interests them. It is one of the most beautiful jobs on the planet, really. You work with a great crew of guys, you have great initiative, and you're responsible for everyone's lives. And everyone on their beach day, it's usually the nicest day, it's vacation, people are usually in a pretty good mood, and it's a beautiful environment to work in.
So basically, the whole idea of us going to schools, and we went to the Boy Scouts and doing the junior lifeguard program, is that kids are followers. They're going to do what everyone else is doing. So we can grow the overall knowledge of ocean safety and teach the kids, as a majority do the right things, they'll all do the right things for the most part. So what we're trying to do is educate them on, like Mel was talking about before and Marvin was talking about before, rip currents, where to swim on the beach. We always educate them on swimming in between the green flags, staying away from the jetties, never swim without a lifeguard. We teach them, in junior lifeguards, I'll take them into a rip current. I want to show them what it feels like. We want to educate them about the water, make them feel safe in the water. And like Chris and everyone said before me, how much of a blessing this job is and what it's done for our lives. My father's been a lifeguard 45 years. I'm going on my 6th year. My brother's done 5 years. And I plan on doing it till God takes me upstairs. You know, I love this job. And growing up in a coastal community means the world to me, and giving back to our community is a blessing. And, you know, it really is giving back to the next generation. That's why I do the school things. That's why I do the junior lifeguards, and I love it. And so junior lifeguards, basically every Monday and Tuesday for about 2 months, kids will come in. There's 4 groups, I'm sorry. C, which is the younger kids, B, which is 12, 13, A is 14, and AA is 15. And as you grow older and older, we add a little bit more to each group. So by the time you get to AA, you're 15, it's pretty much like a mini rookie training. So for those that choose to join the patrol next year and try out, if they get hired, they already know what's going into. And I think it's safe to say the results of the program are pretty phenomenal. The past couple classes of rookies have been tremendous. They've been really well educated, you know, and shout out to Tim and Phil Cappuccino, Joe Armolino for training our rookies. They do that every year. They take a couple weeks and do that, and they do a phenomenal job. We have 16-year-old kids running around the beach, commanding crowds of 200-300 plus on Edwards and Riverside. like champs. They grew up in doing this in junior lifeguards and on the beach, and they've done a great job with it. And I think that's really, it comes from the programs. It comes from educating us as kids when we're younger.
There's a need to recruit future lifeguards to keep the legacy going. So let's talk about that, Christopher, that for a young teen out there, there is such a great opportunity to do something so vitally important in life.
Howie, you said it spot on. It is vitally important. It's a huge service to the community, and people need work, and you want to be able to afford things and cover your own back, and to come in and have guaranteed 40 hours and work with a great crew. And it really introduces you to folks that are 2 years older than you to 32 years older than you and beyond. So it's a really great opportunity to mature as an individual, to serve your community. It's a very physical job, so it keeps you in great physical shape. And you're in touch with the ocean and the sand and nature, and it's really, I can't say enough about how amazing of a job it is. So it's really about getting the word out, largely while we're doing the programs. There is a shortage. I think a lot of it comes down to awareness. If people had even an inkling of how beautiful the job can be, and it largely is up to your attitude and what you want to make out of your day and who you are as a person, I can't support it enough.
In Long Beach, there's a great legacy of grandfathers, fathers, and now sons, where the lifeguard has been in some of these Long Beach families for decades. And we could talk about the Gillespies, the Gallaghers, the Dailies, the Scudens, the Wiesenberg, the Jones, the Dailies. So many families, decades, with the grandfather, the father, and the son. It's been passed down. And to me, there's no better legacy than families that continue the legacy of great lifeguarding.
Couldn't agree with you more, Howie. Like I said before, it's funny you actually said that, because I was actually working with Chris today, and Chris said something that made me really think. He said to one of the younger guys we were working with, when you went back to school, because you graduated high school this year, when you went back to school after your first summer, did you feel more mature than your friends? She said, yeah, I did, a lot. And I thought about that, and I kind of just put it together. Working in a job where you meet people of all different backgrounds, all different races, all different ages. I've worked with people that are 40 years older than me, and we become friends because we have a common goal. We have a common, we're on a chair for 9 hours. You better learn to like them, But, and bringing it all back together, working in the public and meeting so many different people from around the world and new experiences, the ups and the downs. You'll have people that'll yell at you one day. You'll make some of your best friends in the world. You might find there's people that have found their wives on the beach. It brings everybody together. So, and when it all comes together, whether you're a lifeguard for 2 years or 200 years, you're a lifeguard for life. And the life lessons and getting out there and forget the cell phones and the technology, the face-to-face interaction that I feel a lot of our, personally, and I take offense, our generation is struggling with, because we're also technology driven. On the beach, you can't text somebody to get out of the water. You can't text somebody to move over. You got to talk to them. And a job that still is so true to its roots with human interaction is really good for us as kids growing old and bettering our whole community. And that's how I kind of feel about that.
So high tide is when the ocean is at its highest point. This is a direct correlation with where the moon is in the sky. The moon influences the tides drastically. So on the new moon, which is tomorrow, June 3rd, and on the full moon, we actually have the most extreme tides. So that coupled with surf can actually make for the most dangerous rip currents. So often on tide changes, we'll have rip currents in the ocean start to do funny things. So being well aware of the tides. Come and ask us, we're more than happy to explain. Low, the lowest of where the tide is. They can fluctuate depending on where you are on the planet, a large degree, but here usually just several feet.
For everybody, your comfort in the water is going to be different. Not everybody's the same swimmer, but if you're not a strong swimmer, you don't want to swim past where you can stand. I tell people all the time, knee deep, waist deep. If it's rough and you know you're not going to be able to get back in, why put yourself through that struggle? And everybody's different. And like Mal said before, learn to swim. If you learn to swim, you go farther. If you think it's fun to go farther, learn to swim. Everybody's comfort in the water is going to be different. Everybody's level and skill of swimming is going to be different. Chris is a better swimmer than I am. You know, he can surprise swim farther away than I can, but I know my limits. Chris knows his limits. You know, we're lifeguards. You know, we're not superheroes. We're not gonna go swim in a hurricane. You know, everybody has to know their limit and be honest about the limit. Not everybody can swim well. Understand that.
And just one last thing. The ocean and the beach has given so much to us, and it's really heartbreaking to see how it's treated, how she's treated. So please, everyone out there, do your best to bring things that are reusable. Try and pick up any trash that you see on the beach that's yours, that's not yours. And anytime you see something, pick it up. Try and ask people to help keep the place clean. Because just today, like I said, I had the great fortune of paddling within a few meters of dolphins, not far from a whale. And there was more plastic that got caught up out there in all the marshland that had got washed out with the big tide. And those whales that are jumping up, big open feeders, are catching all this. And there's fishermen, and we eat all this fish, and this is our land. And it's really important as we get more wrapped up in technology and phones that we do remain very much in touch with this planet and do our best to keep it clean, because it doesn't take too much to really ruin a good thing. So keep it clean, take the trash out, try and use things that are reusable, and really enjoy this sacred and blessed place that we
God
have.
bless. Amen.
All right, great. Well said. What a great way to close it. Christopher Russo, Nick Nigro, and of course, early in the segment, Mal McGarry and Marvin Weiss. Beach safety, you guys nailed it today. Thank you so much.